Have you ever fallen into the trap of consuming all of the information you can get your hands on? I am someone who absolutely loves to learn. And I used to think that knowledge is power. And that belief kept me in a consummate pattern of learning and ingesting information and listening to podcasts and getting another certification and reading all of the books, hoping that if I knew enough, I would finally get it. And while information is good, and it absolutely changed my perspective, it did not do the inner work for me. But what I ended up learning in the process is that transformation doesn't happen just because we understand something. It happens when we embody it. Today, we're talking about what embodiment actually is, what it isn't, and why I believe that we're not meant to do it alone. Welcome to the Soul Aligned podcast. My name is Andrea, and I'm a coach, author, and guide. I support intuitive women with reconnecting with your inner knowing so they can live, lead, and create from a place of deep soul alignment. My own path has been one of unraveling, of releasing old identities, healing patterns, and learning to trust the wisdom within. This space is an invitation to return to yourself, to explore the work, the nervous system, and the energetic shifts that allow your life to unfold with more ease, clarity, and truth. Take a breath, and let's begin. Hello, friend. Welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here joining me today. It is a beautiful summer day. We have been in the middle of a heat wave, and I have to say, I am absolutely loving the hot temperatures. Getting up in the morning, going for a walk, getting out on the kayak, swimming. It has been absolutely glorious. It kind of feels like I'm living my best life. And I want to talk a little bit about what living your best life actually feels like. It's embodiment. It's living what you desire. It's living your desired reality, and how we can actually learn to embody what it is that we desire for ourselves, for our lives, for our business, for our finances, in every way. And I want to talk about what embodiment is, what it isn't, why I think it's important that we have the support that we need when we're doing the embodiment work, and really how it's going to help you as you move forward in your own life and in your business. So, of course, let's just start right from the beginning, right? Now, if you're anything like me and you have been, in this space a while and you've heard all of the embodiment buzzwords and you think to yourself, okay, I hear people talking about it. I see them say I'm embodying this and I've manifested that, but you're like, I don't really know exactly what that means or how to do it. You are not alone. You are in the right place, because I spent a majority of my own personal journey not really understanding it fully and not getting what exactly I needed to do in order to embody what it is that I desire for my life. And really, in its simple terms, embodiment is taking what's in your head and moving it into your body. It's taking what was a thought, then becomes a belief, and now becomes a way in which you are in the world, a way in which you're being. That is embodiment. And you can probably see that you're embodying so much in your life already, maybe good and maybe bad. Maybe you're like, yeah, I can see how I have a thought in my mind or an idea around something, and then I've formed a belief around it or a perspective or a narrative, and then I'm living it out. That's embodying a belief. So it can be embodying a negative belief, or it can be embodying a positive belief about yourself, about your life, about your business, about your finances, about your relationships. It really is understanding how we take that first thought, we create a new belief around it, and then we create a way of being. I remember one of my former coaches sent me a sweatshirt. I wear it all the time, and it says, "Be her now." And I always kind of had this idea that I am already her. And I was in the process of understanding embodiment at the time, but I really didn't fully understand it. And so I thought, yeah, well, like I'm already her now. So what is it that I need to do? How would I need to shift anything? Like, what is the actual, steps that I need to take in order to be her now if I'm already her now? And the truth of the matter is that you already have everything you need. You already have every gift that you could possibly have. You already have all of the creativity, all of the ideas, all of the ways in which you can really bring things into your reality. But oftentimes what we're doing is we're taking steps towards what we don't want versus taking steps towards what we do want. And the embodiment practice really is creating safety in the body so that you can have what it is that you desire. If it doesn't feel safe, then your body's going to reject it, which means you're going to keep looping the same patterns over and over and over again. And you definitely do not want to do that. So when you are creating a new belief, so you may have had a thought about, say, your business, and okay, that is a limiting belief. This is something that is not serving me. So you create a new belief around it. Well, once you have the new belief, now your body needs to actually enact it. It needs to believe it now. It needs to act in the way that you would if you fully believed it to be true. And so the embodiment part of that is, okay, if I was the woman who believed this to be true about my life, what steps would I be taking? What things would I be thinking? What things would I be feeling? How would I really bring it into my body? And often that can create a little bit of dissonance or discomfort because you start finding that, oh, there's a lot of things that feel uncomfortable about this and that I might actually be resisting or rejecting because my body doesn't feel safe. So it's about incrementally shifting your nervous system to expand, to be able to hold it. So let's talk about worthiness, for example. A lot of women struggle with, I don't feel worthy to have this, or I don't feel worthy to really have the success that I desire. So if we're carrying around that worthiness belief, then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be embodying the belief that we are not worthy. And when we embody the belief, we probably act in ways that show that. We, show up a little bit insecure, or maybe we're comparing ourselves to somebody else, or maybe we're falling into, feeling like we can't have what we want, or we're in a victim mindset. But when we're embodied in a belief of worthiness, then it's like, okay, no, I know that I know that I know, my body even knows it, that I get to have what it is that I desire, and that God has a plan, a purpose in which I am moving towards every single day. And so you're in that divine alignment, you're in that divine timing, and you're moving towards the things that you desire. That is embodied. And when you feel worthy, you know that if you have the desire, it probably came from God in the first place, which means that yes, you can have what it is that you desire. Now, for me, when I first learned about embodiment, I really had to move from a more performative way of being into that more embodied way of being, because I was thinking, okay, if I have to be her now, then I probably need to be doing some things in order to look as though I'm doing it. It's that whole concept of act as if, which I actually don't like. And I've had to come up with a new way of thinking about it. So instead of saying act as if, I say assume the identity of. When you assume the identity of what it is that you desire, then you're asking yourself, like, who would I be in this particular situation? How would I be getting up in the morning? What decisions would I be making? How would I feel about this situation? And sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to actually understand how to move in that and how to make decisions out of that and how to expand your nervous system to receive all of that. But once you do, you can start shifting yourself incrementally more and more and more towards that way of being until eventually you actually don't even think about it anymore because it is just the way in which you are being. Now, for me, one of the things that I guess I have just embodied now is I'm a morning person. Back in 2016 was when I first started to shift my belief that I am a morning person. Up until then, I always was, in the belief that I am a night owl. I don't like getting up in the morning. I don't want to do things in the morning. I'm tired in the morning. And I started to shift my belief around that. I ended up having to get up that summer around 5 o'clock every morning. And it was dark at first, but then I would get up, I would go for a walk. I would have to start doing things by around 5:30. And I started noticing that it was really, really quiet and beautiful and so serene in the morning. And I really enjoyed being up that time of day. I got so much accomplished. I got so much done. And all of a sudden I was like, this is easy. I actually really like this. And the more I was in the energy of being up early in the morning, the more I was like, you know what? I'm actually a morning person. Who knew? I was embodying the belief and the way of being as a morning person. And now I have a whole morning routine. It's something that I don't even think about anymore. It's easy for me to get up and make my bed and walk the dog. And I do all sorts of things. And oftentimes I do it before 7 a.m. And not that I'm saying that you have to follow that same pattern or that that's something you have to do, but I'm using it as an example that we can shift any belief. We can shift any way of being. So what once was an idea that, wow, I wonder if I can become a morning person, became a new identity that I am in, an embodied way of being that, yes, I am a morning person. Now, you can do this for just about anything in your life if you know and believe it to be true for yourself. So it can be around worthiness. It can be around success. It can be around being in a relationship. It can be around belonging or acceptance. Really doesn't matter as long as you are in the belief and energy of it and you are taking steps in that energy that is embodying it. So let's get into what embodiment is not. Now, all of these things that I'm going to share with you are actually really, really solid practices. They're things that I do in my own routine and in my own practice, but themselves are not embodiment. Okay. So I want to put that out there first because you might think, well, that's something I do and it really helps me. And if it really helps you, keep doing it. It's definitely something that you can do, but is it embodiment? And the answer will be no. So here it is. So first of all, I want to talk about collecting information. So we all have probably fallen into the trap of like, I need to know more, right? So if you need to know more, what are you going to do? You're probably going to listen to a podcast. You're probably going to read a book. You might take a course or a certification or get mentorship with somebody who you can learn something from, right? And it's like ingesting all of this information. Well, information's really, really great, but it doesn't help you to integrate and embody it into your life. It just becomes knowledge that you have. And what you're doing with that information and with that knowledge is where the important part is. So I would suggest that you maybe take a step back and you actually take what it is that you have already learned and you start putting it into practice right away. You start embodying that now. And I remember someone telling me this right at the beginning of my coaching journey. And I wish that I had listened because it was such good advice. And they said, read less, but take what you are reading and really dive into it and put it into practice right away. And I think if I had done that, I think I would have really made quicker progress. But because when I was reading, it was soothing my nervous system and it was making me feel like I was doing something and that I was being productive and I was making progress. I kept doing it. I kept learning. I kept in that cycle. And truth be told, you can stay in the cycle of learning till you die, but it's not going to help you with the embodiment. Now, the next one is journaling. Now, I am a huge fan of journaling. I have journaled pretty much my whole life. I've always had a journal. I journal sometimes in the morning and sometimes in the evening, but usually it is in the morning. And now my journaling practice has, shifted over time. But I love, love, love to journal. But what has really, really helped me with my journaling has been allowing the downloads to come through. And that's what I journal now. And so there are times where I'm doing some inner healing work that I do want to express myself, and I want to journal through thoughts and beliefs. And I really want to get a lot of what I'm thinking and feeling out on paper. But really what has helped me in the journaling process has been to ask myself the bigger questions, like how would I be acting, or what steps would I be taking in the energy of what it is that I desire, in the energy of belief that I want to manifest in my life. And then that way I know how I can embody what it is that I desire in my life. But journaling just to journal is going to keep you just thinking about the same thing over and over again. You're just rehearsing your thoughts. You're just putting them out on paper. You might feel good in the moment. You may process your emotions, but it is not embodiment. The next one would be affirmations. Now, affirmations have been an interesting thing for me because although I do believe that affirmations are necessary and I am statements are really, really good, they help us to get into the energy of what it is that we desire. If you don't believe them, then you're not going to really integrate them into your life. You're not going to integrate them into your way of being. So affirmations have to be paired with taking action. So when you're saying, I am worthy, it is, well, what action step are you taking in your worthiness? In the belief that you are worthy? Or if you're saying, I am successful, well, what action are you taking as a successful leader, as a successful coach, as a successful creative? Like, what is it that you're actually doing that would show that you're in the energy of that belief of success? So just saying the affirmations, although good, is not actually the full embodiment process. And I think we can all fall into that pattern or that belief that we have to get everything right, that we need to perfect it, that we have to show up the right way, that we need to implement the right strategy so that we can have what it is that we desire. And a lot of the time, it's about really understanding that this is a trial and error process. And there is going to be a level of discomfort in embodiment. So you have to kind of get used to that. You're going to have to get used to the fact that not everything is going to feel really good. It actually is meant to stretch and challenge and move you in the direction of what is unfamiliar to you, not keep you in the familiarity of what you have already done and what you've already known. And that is a lot of the reason why we can get stuck. We can get addicted to the process. I know I have. I know I've been addicted to the process of learning, of thinking because I know more, all of a sudden I'm making more progress or I'm being more productive. And really that just keeps me in this false sense of security, like I'm actually going in the direction that I want to be. But the truth is that when you are stuck in these old patterns and these old loops, it just keeps you circling them over and over again. So we have to be able to really confront our fears. We have to be able to be in the discomfort. We have to be in the messy middle part. We have to be able to allow ourselves to know that what we have been living has to be pulled apart a bit. We have to stretch in order to allow ourselves to really be authentic, to be vulnerable about what we desire, to be in the energy of what we desire, and really to hold that energy. So not only are you doing that, with your thought, but you're in the belief of it. And once you're in the belief of it, you're actually in the emotion of it and the energy of it as well. So you're shifting your whole energetic frequency, your energetic vibration. And I don't know about you, but I can listen to something like I'll be driving and the radio will be on and a certain song will come on and immediately it shifts my energy. It's like all of a sudden I feel like I'm in a good mood, or I just feel a certain way because I'm in it. I'm in the song. I'm in the energy of it. And that is how we want to feel. We want to feel like we're in the energy of what it is that we desire. So once we've moved through that discomfort, once we've moved through some of that unfamiliarity and really being able to like pull apart all of those old beliefs, then we can shift that energy and start to raise that frequency and that vibration. So we're feeling into what the outcome would be and knowing, now I know what it feels like to feel successful. Now I know what it feels like to feel worthy. And it all starts with that decision, right? That you make at the beginning. It's like, I have a decision to make that I'm either going to believe this or I'm going to believe that. It takes just as much work and bandwidth to believe something that is not good for you as to believe something that is good for you. And I know that's crazy to hear, but we really put a lot of work into our unbelief. Like it really is something that we have to think about and ruminate over. And when we want to make that decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to be in that belief anymore, then we can really shift into a new belief, a new energy, and get a new result because we're in the embodiment of what it is that we desire. Now, I want to share a little story like that came from a conversation with my friend the other day. And we were talking about something that she's going through in being the wounded healer. So you can substitute healer with coach or creative or leader, whatever it is that you want to substitute. You can substitute the word healer for leader, entrepreneur, creative, coach, whatever it is. You might have been in the belief that you are someone who needs to fix yourself. That if you just fix all the broken parts, if you just heal all the wounded parts of you, then you will be worthy. Then you will be able to have the success. Then you'll get what you want. Then you'll be able to receive. And that wounded part of you keeps you in a perpetual loop. And when I was talking to my friend and we were talking about this, I said, well, what would it be like for you to make the decision that instead of being the wounded healer, you're the successful healer? And she sat with that for a moment. And when she was really sitting there thinking about it, she's like, you know what? Just even saying it feels really, really good. And she said, I know that I am a really incredible healer. I'm good at what I do. So why would I want to be in the whole wounded embodiment? Why wouldn't I want to be in an embodied healer? I'm a successful healer. I'm a financially successful healer. I am a sought after healer. And as she started talking about it, you could tell that all of a sudden it was like lifting off of her. She made the decision that she was no longer going to be the wounded healer. And sometimes it really is just as easy as that when you say, I'm done with that belief. It's like you come to the end of yourself and you're like, I'm done with that. And I have felt that in my own life as well. There have been many, many times where I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. I am not going to be in that belief anymore. And now I'm going to shift the belief and I'm going to start taking steps in the energy of what I am embodying. And we often hear the expression, act as if. And I don't really love the act as if terminology because it feels a bit fake, a bit like we're pretending, like we're just going to, fake it till we make it, which I don't love. But if we assume the identity, it's like as though it's done. If I assume the identity that I'm a successful coach, that I'm financially successful woman, if I'm living in the energy that I can co-create anything it is that I desire, then sky's the limit, right? You become unstoppable. You become limitless because you believe that anything is possible for you. And you're in the energy of that, and you're in the decision that that is true for you. So it's all about, first of all, number one, you have to identify what it is that the thought you're having, then shift the belief. But then once you shift the belief, now you're in the embodiment and expansion part of the process. And it requires you being super vulnerable and honest. And you might try and do this work on your own, but the truth of it is that sometimes we don't see our own blind spots. We are unable to see the things that are actually holding us back, which is why I think it is so important that we get the support that we need, because your growth and evolution will not happen in isolation. And I know this to be true because I'm a 2-4 generator. And 2s, generally speaking, we like to be on our own. We like to do things on our own. We receive all of that like beautiful creative energy on our own. But it can also be a blind spot for 2s because it keeps us in this kind of like cycle of being isolated and thinking that we need to do everything on our own. And I had to learn the hard way that, you know what? Some things I actually need to do in community so that I can have somebody reflect back to me what it is that I'm not seeing and reveal to me what I might not want to own myself. And that happens within relationship, and it happens within community. So it doesn't matter what profile you are in human design. I just wanted to use my personal example because when we are too isolated, we can think, well, I can just do this by myself. I don't need a coach. I don't need a community. I can just stay hidden and do the work and embody this on my own. When really you're going to get better, faster results when you are in community, especially a trusted and safe community. And there are so many benefits to it, really. When you are in community with people who are in that expansion and who are doing the work as well, you're actually watching them take courageous steps, which encourages you and it empowers you to be like, you know what? I want to do that too. That's something that is for me. Like watching a friend publish a book or start a podcast or, get a client that is a dream client. It's like, oh, if she can do it, I can do it. We get out of that comparison rut and move into the fact that other people can be expanders for us. And we start looking for people who can be expanders for us. It also helps because when you see someone else be vulnerable, it gives you permission to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to be transparent, to own what it is that you need to own. When you witness somebody have a major breakthrough or see them thrive at what they're doing, it's like, yes, I see them do it. And now I know that it's also possible for me. And, even just today, just a small example, I went to the chiropractor and I was talking to him about the progress that I'd made. And I feel so grateful because he's been super supportive in my healing journey. I had fallen about a year and a half ago twice, and I have made some significant progress in my mobility, in just all of the ways that I had been totally out of alignment with my back. And he said to me, he's like, I honestly wish that you could give a motivational talk to all of the other people who come here, who are my patients, because he says, you're doing everything right. You're taking what I suggest and you're putting it into practice. And I look at it like almost like a coach relationship, because why would I go to a chiropractor that I wouldn't listen to? What would be the point of that, right? He's going to put you into alignment, but then you go back and do everything that you did before and just pull yourself back out of alignment. Whereas, listening to what he has to say and actually taking those actions have kept me making progress, moving forward and actually feeling better. I'm stronger, I'm more flexible, I'm more mobile. I'm noticing significant progress because I'm doing the things he's asked me to do. And he says, eating clean, working out, strength training, getting rest, drinking all the water. He says, it's really amazing to see the progress that you've made. And I want to encourage you that when you're working with somebody who also is giving you what you need, you're going to make that same progress as well. And so it's something that we need for our benefit, and not because we don't know what to do, but because someone's helping us to take those steps forward and keeping us accountable and keeping us encouraged and keeping us motivated to get there. And the best part of this is that when you are really in that embodied state, when you are embodying the beliefs that you have for your life, anything is possible for you. So today, as we come to a close, I want to ask you a few questions that I think may help you in your own process as you're learning how to embody what it is that you desire for your own life. So the first question is, where in your life are you consuming versus integrating? So are you spending more time learning and getting the knowledge than you are putting it into practice? Like, are you thinking, oh, if I just learn and know more, then I'm going to all of a sudden through osmosis know it? Or are you taking what you're learning and integrating it? Is there an area in which you can maybe go, you know what, this is where I can pinpoint, where I can shift this and start moving forward? Have you mistaken knowing for becoming? Just because you know something intellectually does not mean that you are actually embodying it. And there's a difference. And getting really, really honest with yourself about where you might be doing that. What would you change if you gave yourself permission to practice rather than perfect? This is something I see so often with my voice students. So not as much with my coaching clients as with my voice students, because so many people that come to me that are singers, they want to show me the best that they can do. They want to say, see, this is how good I am. And I tell them all the time, I'm not looking for you to be perfect. In fact, this is where I want you to make the mistakes with me, because I can help you to fix what it is that you need to fix so that you can be better, so that you can have more longevity in singing, so that you can have better vocal health. The same applies to being a coach and being in a community. When we are trying to be perfect all the time, we don't really make the mistakes that we need to make or show someone where our blind spots are, because we're too busy being performative and too busy trying to perfect things. And there's enough people out there that are trying to do that I know you don't want to be one of them. I know I don't want to be one of them. And so I would ask you, where are you trying to be perfect over actually putting this into practice? And the last one is, who are the people helping you become that next version of yourself? And it's really, really good to be in alignment with people who are maybe on the same trajectory as you. Maybe you found people in your community that we're walking the same path together. We're on the same kind of level. We're at the same stage, and it's really good, right? And you can use each other as a sounding board, and you can use each other for encouragement. But oftentimes they're not seeing things in you that someone ahead would see, that your coach would see, that is going to call you out and is going to challenge you and help you to create that faster momentum. And I was in a mastermind not long ago, and the coach said to me, Andrea, I know that you know this because you teach it, but I just want to remind you. And then she actually left me this message, and it was a really, really beautiful message. And you know what? The truth of the matter is everything she said, I knew, but hearing it back really hit home, because I was like, I know that she sees this, and now I'm accountable to making the adjustment and not just going, yeah, I know, but actually putting it into practice and embodying the belief. This is actually the reason why I created the Soul Circle inside of the collective. It is a space where we are not just learning concepts anymore because we already have enough information. The Soul Circle inside of the Soul Aligned Collective is a space for you to be witnessed, for you to be held in the energy of what it is that you desire for your life. It's a space where you can feel free to share your thoughts, your beliefs, your fears, the resistance that you might be going through, and to be honest about what is holding you back. And in this space is where we are doing the embodiment work, where we're shifting into a new way of being, not just shifting out of old beliefs, but actually putting into practice what it is that you want to co-create in your life. Now, the Soul Circle is a smaller group within the collective. It's part of the whole. It's for the woman who knows that she wants to move faster, that she is ready for that type of accountability, and she's ready to be stretched and to expand. It's about being an expander for somebody else, but also for being expanded yourself. And I am so excited about what is going to happen within the Soul Circle, because I really do believe that women who say yes to this, they're going to create so much momentum that their lives, their businesses, their finances are going to shift because they are seen, they are known, and they are held to what it is that they want to bring about in their lives, in their businesses, in their relationships, in their finances. And so I'm so excited to share with you more about what the Soul Circle is actually going to look like. Now, in the collective, I have talked about how there are going to be 2 calls a month. One is more of a community call where you're going to get support. You're going to really make those deeper connections with people. Then you're also going to have the soul activation call, which is where we really do all of that inner work. That's where we are doing the healing, the meditation, the Reiki, the tapping, the nervous system regulation. But this third call is where you move to the next level. This is where you step into the energy of who you know yourself to be. So I'm so excited for both the women who say yes to the collective and also for those of you who say yes to the Soul Circle. Now, we are starting very soon. We're starting in August, and I cannot wait to do this work with you. Now, all of the information is going to be available for you in the show notes and in the description, where you can pick either option, and you're going to commit for 6 months to either option. And if you want at some point to move from the collective into the Soul Circle, that is totally possible. But for the Soul Circle, once you're in for 6 months, then you stay in for 6 months. If you decide after the 6 months you want to go into the collective, then you can actually move into the collective after those 6 months. But whatever you feel in your heart is for you right now, I want to encourage you to follow that and to know that there might be something within the collective for you, and there might be something within the Soul Circle for you. So neither of them are, better than the other. It's really what it is that you need in your life right now and how we can serve you best within the community. I believe transformation happens not because we're trying to fix ourselves, but because we're surrounded by community that are committed to doing the work alongside of you. And so this is not about having all the answers. This is not about being perfect. This is not about getting it all right. It's about practicing a new way of being, doing life together in community, because that is how embodiment happens. And friend, if there's one thing that you can take from today, it's this. Your next breakthrough probably isn't hiding in a podcast or another book or another course. It's in the courage to actually practice what you already know, to allow yourself to be seen, because the information can inspire you, but embodiment will transform you. And transformation becomes so much more possible when we don't have to walk it alone. Thank you for being here and for walking this path with me. If this episode supported you, please share it with somebody who's on their own journey and leave a rating and review to help the podcast grow. You can connect with me on Instagram at Andrea Crisp Coach or visit andreacrisp.ca. Until next time, trust your soul knows the way. Original music and production by Stephen Crowley.